clear. Like you're looking at the minute where people have an option to either be tried in a Crown Court by a jury or a magistrate. That, for many of these cases, probably will be just sped up, so it's not a jury trial. The memo that was sent around to ministers, right? So this is a thing. It's not like a kind of like a journalist concoction. Was about all cases other than rape, manslaughter, and murder going to a judge. That's not happening.
Ridge goes straight to the heart of the issue. The government's trial by jury position has visibly shifted, and the public deserves clarity. Instead of answering, Lammy repeatedly stalls behind process, even as Ridge reminds him this is about constitutional rights, not administrative leaks. The evasiveness reinforces Ridge's argument that the government is backpedalling after backlash, not following principle.
I'll be making my announcement later on. Let's just fix on this. 10% of those cases come to the Crown Court. 7% of them fall away because people plead guilty. That then leaves 3%. The question in front of us today is if you steal an iPhone from Curry's later on today...
I won't do that, by the way.
should you be able to opt for a jury trial? Or should that be dealt with by a...
That's an either way case. So that's the either way case. I'm asking about the other cases. Either way is clear, right? That's going to not
where
jury.
Should the threshold be? Brian says it should be at 3 years. He effectively says 3 years, I think, should be dealt with either by the magistrates or by a new division. And that's what I'm looking at.
You've changed your mind on this. You have
Sophie,
changed your mind on this in the last week, right? Let's be straight. You've changed your mind on this. Why have you changed your mind?
You're asking a process question.
No, I'm not. I'm asking you.
No,
this is not a no. Just to say, this is not a process question. This is about the right to a trial by jury. There's nothing process about this. This is about fundamental beliefs. You, I put it to you, the Justice Secretary, have changed your mind in the last week on whether that should be done in the vast, vast majority of cases. Why have you changed your mind? You might have a really good reason, but why have you changed your mind?
It's a process question to the extent that there was a leak.
I'm asking you and your beliefs, though.
Yeah, but I haven't. I'm going to be making a statement to Parliament later and setting out my view. There is a process by which you discuss with Cabinet colleagues what you might be looking at, they feed back, you make a judgment. And
so
it's
was
on
it
that
cabinet?
basis...
Was it the Cabinet reaction then?
Of course you discuss these things with Cabinet colleagues. It's on that basis that you reach a judgment.
And they didn't like it
And I'll be
very much.
laying out that judgment later on. The point is, I don't want a backlog. I don't want victims suffering. But I also believe fundamentally in the jury system. And I thank the 300,000 or so people every year that play a role in our juries. Okay. It's fundamental in our system. I've stood up for juries all of my life, fundamental belief in it, but I don't want the system to collapse. I want it to continue and go from strength to strength.
Was the memo leaked to test public opinion?
Oh, I can't comment why. I don't know why memos were leaked. These things happen. In all my 25 years in politics, of course there can be leaks. They're regrettable and they're unfortunate. What's important is that the government and I will be laying out our position later on in Parliament today. Juries remain the cornerstone of our system. We of course are building on what Sir Brian Leveson has done. Careful, considered work, one of our best judges.
Well, he's talked about two magistrates sitting with a judge rather than a single judge. So actually a lot of this has gone further, I should just quickly say.
He has talked about that and I'll comment on that today. But importantly, more money for victims today, more money for criminal barristers today because they play an important role and we need those criminal barristers, and a new scheme for junior barristers so that they're doing criminal legal aid work because previously they've been going into other areas.
Are you aware of any more violent offenders or sex offenders who've been let out of jail by mistake on your watch?
Well, I made a statement to Parliament a few weeks ago, and at that stage I reported, and that was unusual because usually the records are reported in July. 91 people had been released in error. At that stage there were 3 people at large who had been released in error. That figure has come down and I'm pleased about that. But I've said that I'm not going to give a running commentary, Sophie, and the reason for that is we have a system. Data has to be properly validated. We also have a system
It's
where
really
if someone
clear.
is at large, the police are asked to
Are
do
you
that
aware
work.
of any more violent offenders or sex offenders?
There have been releases in error since I made that statement, but I want to convey that the trend this year is fortunately downwards.
Can you give me a number on how many?
2.
There's been 2.
There have been 2.
And are they still at large, or have they been apprehended?
Sophie, it's important that I release that data in the way that it's always been released. And it's also important that I work with police where someone is at large, and sometimes, because the police are about to nab somebody, they actually don't want me to discuss it. And it's important that they get under.
But are those 2 people still at large or not? Are they?
There are 2 people currently at large.
OK, thank you. You're grappling with a court system with a massive backlog.
And a prison system.
And a prison
on
the
system
brink.
that's paper-based.
I agree. I absolutely
Yeah.
understand the prison system and the crisis you've had there. I mean, do you kind of spend your time like thinking back wistfully to that like lovely office in the Foreign Office you used to have? You've got the hardest job in government here.
Well, Sophy
Ridge identifies 2 simultaneous failings by the Justice Secretary: a lack of transparency and a lack of competence, both on topics critical to public trust. On the trial by jury issue, Ridge rightly pinpoints the crux of the issue. The government was covertly considering eliminating the right to jury trials for the great majority of offenders, despite years of public vows to uphold that concept. Ridge's argument is not procedural, it is constitutional. One of the oldest offences against government excess is jury trials. If the government wishes to dilute it, they must justify it openly rather than testing it with leaks and then retreating when it is inconvenient. Lammy's hesitation to say whether he changed his mind due to cabinet pressure or public outrage simply adds to the impression that the policy lacks substance and is motivated only by political calculations. Ridge's most poignant moment occurs when she discusses prisoner releases. Lammy initially frames the matter as data management technicalities, but Ridge focuses on what the public wants to know: have more dangerous felons fled state jail under his watch? After extensive evasions, Lammy acknowledges that 2 more prisoners were accidentally released, and that both are still at large. This is not mere bureaucratic noise. It is a real threat to public safety. Ridge is right to question the Justice Secretary about why the government refuses to offer timely, transparent updates. When people who have been convicted of major crimes are wrongfully released, the public deserves to know right away, not months later when data is validated. Lammy's attempt to dismiss the issue as regular administration exposes the underlying problem: a justice system that is overburdened, both administratively and functionally. The narrative Ridge draws is unavoidable. A court backlog so severe the government is contemplating curbing centuries-old rights. A prison system so overloaded and paper-based that inmates are released by mistake. A justice secretary unwilling to give straight answers on either crisis. By the end of the exchange, Ridge exposes the contradiction at the core of Lammy's position: a government claiming to strengthen justice while simultaneously allowing it to deteriorate. The public is right to be concerned, and Ridge is right to hold him to account. Let us know what you think down below in the comments.